In an operational update that was released in December 2011, Great Basin Gold said its Burnstone mine in South Africa continued to make a good progress in a number of areas, notably in ore development, which increased by 29%, and in contained gold extracted, which increased by 16%. So an impressive set of numbers there, Chris, but this relative to Pan-African and Gold One is still a fledgling company. What will make them a mid-tier player?
No, this is still more in the development stage. In other words, there aren't strong secure cash flows from a single operation. The others have at least one single operation that is producing cash flows that can at least supply the other things. Here you've got an operation in the US, which is which really is a small operation and relatively short life, and a bigger development in around the Balfour area, a new gold mine. It's not trying to pick off an old area and that kind of thing. So it's a new mine. It's a greenfield start-up, as it were, but it's still in the build-up phase. I think great potential, over time. But this deposit has been known for a long time, and it's been, the mining houses have been in and around it. It's not a simple thing. Oh, here's a new deposit that we can sort of just go in and pluck in and make a lot of money. It's been avoided over the years for reasons.
This company's also got quite a bit of debt. They completed an agreement for $150 million. That's a finance facility provided by Credit Suisse. Now, for someone of their size, this $150 million debt, something that is advisable. And I know you're also quite versed on the technical challenges that the company's faced with. Take us through some of those, please, Warren.
Yes, obviously the technical challenges have been as a result of the ramp up, where they were talking about doing, I think, 135,000 ounces in 2011, and then 175,000 ounces this year, and then working their way up to 254,000 ounces next year. That's been completely revised because of problems that they've had in the build-up. And the problems they say, the company has said, is that it relates specifically to the 3 blocks that they're mining underground in the next 30 months. One of the blocks, the B2 block, they discovered a carbon fault, which means that they had to delay infrastructure, and they had to spend money and time drilling around the fault to define how the mineral body, how the reef ran through the block, because they thought it was a continuous reef, and now it's discovered that it's been broken up. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get more infrastructure ready so that they can get more of this mechanized trackless mining that they use into the stope faces and get the material, the tonnage up to the plant. So to cut a long story short, it's really been about this company will really rise and fall on being able to deliver this project, and making sure that now that they've done enough drilling, they understand the ore body, they can get enough equipment down the mine and into the stope faces to pull the reef out of the mine.
But they have indicated that long-hole stoping is a preferred mining method. Does that not give you any sense of confidence?
It is, and I've spoken to a few geologists on this, as well as reading some of the reports by quite well-esteemed analysts, and they agree with the long-hole stoping method. What the company has decided to do is to increase the stope face. So instead of using 9 square meters at the stope, they've now made that bigger, in an attempt to try and mine more material with better efficiency. So everyone's going to be watching the operational updates, because they're listed in New York. You can get, they publish a quarterly operational and financial results. And I think for the next 2 quarters, you've really got to see that some of that high-grade material that they've got in those blocks finds its way to the plant. Otherwise, they do have funds available for contingency, but it's going to be really tight then if they still can't pick up production to the anticipated levels.
Chris, Warren mentioning that they have funds available, it's going to be tight. Yeah. I mean, they have a number of cash constraints, and doesn't make sense, as I asked in the initial question, for them to have this credit facility if they're not as cash flush.
No, well, that's why they need the thing, is because they're not cash flush. But clearly, if their operations even come half right, or with the gold price where it is in rand terms, etc., they should be okay. And if the gold price starts to pull away even more, in other words, if one's got a bullish view on gold, this has got quite a lot of leverage, because there's a number of moving parts. One is there's the ramp up, and then there's the margin that also opens up. And so, from that point of view, it's an interesting investment to actually to be watching. I don't think one can take that off this one off your radar screen.
Well, earlier in the show, I said I'd ask your outlook on gold, but we'll leave that to your stock picks, because now I need to find out if you think Great Basin Gold is a hot stock. And Chris, it sounds like it is for you.
I think so, but it does come with caution. In other words, that there's debt, and if the operations don't come right, this can run into trouble. So this is a speculative hot.
Speculative
Yes.
hot because of that caveat.
I agree with that. Speculative, yeah, it is speculative at this stage until you see them producing the amount of gold that they've aimed for. It's not going to be a hot, so it's very speculative at this stage, but very interesting for investors.
Now, I'm dying to get your take on the outlook for gold in 2012. I know producers telling me that we're running out of time, but Chris, give us your outlook, and then we'll come to you, Warren.
I'm looking at 2,500 by the end of this year. Okay.
Very bullish.
Solid.
Very bullish.
It doesn't sound, but I'm looking at it more from the point of view that you're consolidating off a $1,900 base.
Okay.
Okay, and that it's really a gain on the high that we've achieved, and I don't think it's a lot, given that your monetary policy conditions are extremely supportive for gold at this stage.
Warren, are you as bullish, 2,500 by the end of the year?
Not quite as high as 2.5, but I do see gold going over $2,000 an ounce this year, and sitting there for a while. So yes, I am bullish. I also share a view with Chris that what's going on in certain parts of the world is going to be very beneficial to supporting the gold price.
And obviously something like that would all go well for the likes of Great Basin Gold.
Absolutely.
Gentlemen, let's come to your stock list now. Chris, we'll start with you.
Okay, Anglo Plat, basically platinum today, huge surge, and I don't think that's going to be a flash in the pan. I think the platinum price has been quite depressed over the past 6 months or so, and I think you're going to see that recover also, following gold in a sense, but I think you'll still see platinum coming right, and I think that the shares will respond to that.
Anglo Platinum, thank you. Chris, Warren, your stock pick for today, and tell us why.
Mine's a Coal of Africa. I've mentioned it before. I'm sticking to my guns. I think I like the profile, and I think the company's a turnaround story, a turnaround story. So yes, very bullish on Coal of Africa still.